Good afternoon from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. I'm Thomas Keel, here to bring you the sixth round of the Sheboygan IndyCar series, which will take place on the road course here at IMS. Last year's race here was won by Zach Schrader. He is currently 28th in the points, so a win here again today would do wonders for him in the championship. Here is what the top three in the championship look like. At the top, with 140 points, we have Samantha Keel in the number 45 Air Canada car, followed closely behind 6 points back by Hunter Keel in the number 2 PPG car, and then another 6 points back. In third place again this week is Brad Keel in the number 301 Miller American car. There's been a lot of drama this week throughout the paddock, one of which revolves around Darren Wyman, where after another back-of-the-field finish at Barber, has fired his entire race team and has a brand new crew this weekend. Definitely taking the Lightning McQueen approach to the situation, where he believes everyone else is the problem and he can do nothing wrong. On the other hand, we have Tim Pagolo, who has had similar results to Darren this year with only one top 15 finish this season. However, Tim had this to say when questioned on their strategy calls at Barber last week, when using the wrong set of tires resulted in a 30th place finish. We here at Triple T Racing are much more advanced in knowledge than the other teams. Really, it's the tires' fault for not living up to the standards that we expect here at Triple T Racing. The strategy would have worked out, but currently we are far too advanced for the equipment that we are provided. When asked to comment on whether there were going to be any changes in the team, like we are seeing with Darren Wyman, Tim Pagolo had this to say: "We absolutely are making no changes across the team. We here at Triple T Racing are so dedicated that it takes time for our brilliant strategies to come to fruition." He then went on to predict that he will qualify and finish within the top 10 this weekend, and then stated, "In the near future, when we get this all set up right, when the other teams see us in their mirrors, they'll just pull over and let us through because there'll be no point in fighting us." Will these bold statements hold up? How will the rest of the paddock react? And will Tim Pagolo's prediction for the weekend be accurate? We will have to find out, starting with qualifying. So normally I don't show any highlights from practice. However, I'm going to make an exception regarding the context for this week. We have Tim Pagolo here, which, as you just heard, was bragging about their strategy calls and how much smarter they were than the rest of the competition. And with 4 minutes left to go in practice, Tim Pagolo has yet to run any laps on the red tires. He did just jump up to 11th there, but for the majority of the practice, he's been down in 28th. He found 0.4 of a second that lap, but it seems like his team is really struggling for balance, and he's only ran the black tires. He has not put a lap on the red tires and will go into qualifying without a flying lap on the red tires. So after the cockiness and attitude that we saw from Tim Pagolo in that interview earlier this week, we are going to watch him as he goes through qualifying. He takes the green flag right now. These are the first laps that Tim has had on the red tires this weekend. We saw in the practice session that he did not put a single lap on these tires. He only ran the harder black tires. It's a bold strategy call going into qualifying completely blind. Tim was struggling even on the harder black tires, so I'm assuming this car is all over the place and he is not happy with what the team's given him. To get the flag for the white flag, see what his first lap is going to be. Ooh, not looking good. A 1:13.7. 113.7 puts him 6/10 behind Moto after that first lap. This could be huge for Moto getting pole. Yesterday was Moto's birthday. This could be a birthday present to himself. His prediction was to qualify within the top 10, so we will see if he's just set up a prep lap for that first one, and we'll have a better second lap because it's not looking good. 6/10 is a lot of time to make up. Tim to the top! Oh, and gets snubbed by Hunter. That's huge for Hunter, second in the championship right now. Maybe Tim did know what he was talking about. Moto gets robbed first by Tim, and then Tim gets just snubbed out by Hunter. As per usual, we are going to take you through the top 10 of the starting grid. On pole with a 112.072 at the last second is Hunter Keel. Hunter in the number 2 PPG car, barely beating out Tim Pagolo in the number 31 Marlboro car. Absolutely getting robbed of his birthday present is Moto King in the number 85 red, white, and blue car. Moto is your top car starting on the harder black compound tire. In fourth, I didn't even realize this, with a brand new team, is Darren Wyman in the number 10 Wyman Landscapes car. In fifth, in the Baja Blast machine, is Steven Cheesin. Next to him in row 3 will be Andrew Williamson. In row 4, in 7th, is Michelle. Next to Michelle is Hannah Sheldon in the number 66 711 car. 9th is Crass Nasty. 10th is Thomas Keel in the number 1 United Rentals car. Your championship leader, Samantha, qualified back in 20th in that number 45 Air Canada car. The pace car pulls off, and Hunter's already on it. Hunter is going to take the green flag, and we are racing down to turn 1. Back there, it looks like Michelle. No, Steven Cheesin is going up the inside of Andrew and now the outside of Andrew Williamson. Darren Wyman up ahead, gets past Tim Pagolo. Steven Cheesin, Andrew Williamson, and Michelle are all fighting back here. Oh, it's a mess of cars back there. Is there something wrong with John? Holy cow. We are 2x2 going down to this corner. Someone must have had a terrible run. Oh, Thomas has damage. Holding up the field. Thomas does not have a front wing. Will he be able to make it back to the pits? Looks like Melissa has damage too. Oh, maybe she got into the Thomas ran into the back of her. Will Thomas be able to make it to the pits? He bunched up this entire back of the field. He is not coming in. He is staying out, which is causing the entire field behind. We will quickly go back to see what happened with Thomas, as Brad dives up the inside of Thomas. We will find Thomas here and see what happened, and then jump back to the action. So Thomas is side by side with John. going through. Oh, hip checks John, and then Thomas runs into the back of John. And we are hearing word from race control that Thomas is going to get a black flag for avoidable contact, as well as for driving around without a front wing for dangerous behavior. Wanda is able to make that pass. Right behind them is Cole trying to get around Fred. Ooh, real tight there. Cole almost clears him. Wow, Cole took a ton of curve there and chopped off the nose of Fred. That's going to really hurt Fred's run down here into turn 6. Brady's going to try and take advantage of that on the outside. Sends it deep on the brakes. They will stay side by side into the S's. Still side by side. Samantha right there waiting to pounce. Oh, Michelle lost part of her front wing. What happened? Here we are checking back to see what happened with Michelle. She's battling Tim Paglow, trying to go Tim defense to the inside, and she just runs into the back of Tim, losing her front wing. Michelle was having such a great day. Back a little farther in 10th. Ken lost his front wing too, I'm assuming in the same type of incident, and is stuck behind Hannah. Now, when you lose your front wing, that's another 5 seconds, roughly, in the pits to get a new wing put on there. So, Ken was moving up as well. As out of the pits, Paul has lost part of his front wing. When did that happen? Another front wing death. Paul side by side at the line with Michelle. Does not appear to have had a good of a run. But is still hanging tough there. He will lose his position here, though. Michelle giving plenty of space. Does not chop off the front. Will they go side by side through here? They will. And Paul will fight back and take back that position. Paul really squeezed. He's not happy with Michelle. Must have had contact between the two for the way that they are fighting. As Steven Cheesin comes to pit, what happened? Steven Cheesin was on... He pit 14 laps ago. He should have been able to make it. Was there an issue filling the car? Not able to make it to the end? Oh, what an absolute disaster. Steven Cheesin was on pace for his first podium ever. His best finish was 4th at Detroit last year, and he was on pace to get 2nd place. Oh, what a disaster. But after dominating the day with a 11.5 second lead to finish the race, Hunter is going to be your winner here at the IMS road course and start off his month of May with a win and a lead in the championship now. Biggest mover of the race, up 16 positions, is Brady from 28th all the way up to 12th is your biggest mover. Here are your results for round number 6 at the IMS road course. Hunter goes back-to-back after winning last weekend at Barber, leading 62 of the 90 laps and finishing 12 seconds ahead of Andrew Williamson. And would you look at that, after firing his entire team, Darren Wyman comes away with some hardware in a 3rd place. Same can be said about Tim Paglow. He predicted qualifying and finishing in the top 10, and he did just that. Qualified 2nd and finished 5th. You can see there at the bottom that Hunter had the pole fastest race lap and the most laps led to earn a perfect weekend. 2 wins on the season are going to be enough to propel Hunter to the top of the standings, with now a sizable gap in 24 points back to Andrew Williamson. And then for the 3rd week in a row, Brad Keel will remain in 3rd place in the championship. The championship has been up for grabs all season long, but is this the breakaway that we all been waiting on? Here you can see the second half of the standings. Hunter starts off his month of May with an exclamation point after this weekend, and Shirley now sets his eyes on next week's Indy 500. Will he complete the sweep for the month? Will Thomas be able to defend his race win from a year ago? Will Tim Pagolo continue with his momentum and avenge his runner-up finish at last year's 500? Only time will tell, and we will see you at the next race.